Hello, and welcome to my session titled Thank You, OER Champion. My name is Justine Munds, and I am the Textbook Affordability Librarian at Clackamas Community College in Oregon City, Oregon. In this session, I'll be giving you an overview of an OER Champion gratitude campaign that I designed for Clackamas, and that'll include the research and resources that inspired the campaign's intended outcomes, and a quick review of and access to the openly licensed resources that made up that campaign. Attendees of this session will be able to describe the importance of recognizing OER adoptions, predict the benefits of actively celebrating OER adopters, and employ an OER Champion gratitude campaign of their own. Before I get into the details, I wanted to give you a quick roundup of what my gratitude campaign entailed. The very first thing that I did was gather a list of faculty that were using OER at CCC. Once I had that, I put together and sent each of those faculty members a packet that included the following resources. First was a thank you letter that outlined the impact the faculty were having on their students by using OER. The second was a poster to put on their office door declaring that they are an OER champion and what that means. A sticker with a QR code that leads to a digital version of that poster, and my business card because I was hoping that they would get in touch with me. I know that these resources look very tiny on your screen right now, but there are links to full-size, readable templates of these resources at the end of my presentation for you. The last thing that I want to mention here is that I do keep track of the faculty that I've already sent these packets to, and I repeat this process once a year just to make sure that I catch any faculty who may have just implemented OER. So what led me to instituting this gratitude campaign at Clackamas? Well, my first term as Clackamas's textbook affordability librarian was also the first term that Clackamas had a full-time textbook affordability librarian at all. And I spent the months leading up to my first day learning about what other institutions had done to bolster textbook affordability on their campuses. This led me to starting a list of potential initiatives, and I quickly ended up with quite a long list. But at the very end, right before I started, I bolded one question at the top of my list, and that was, how do I market textbook affordability? I really wanted the folks at CCC to know that I was here and I was ready to support them in utilizing textbook affordability initiatives like OER. And I don't really have an extensive marketing background, but I did know that cold calling or cold emailing my colleagues was really not going to be the best way to get them involved, because the work that I was proposing was going to require at least some level of course redesign, and our faculty are ever busy, as all faculty are, and I knew that they would likely be a little hesitant to sign up for that work without a clear understanding of its benefits. And while I knew I could easily share the facts and figures with them, I thought that it would be more effective and probably a lot less boring for them to see which of their colleagues were already engaging in textbook affordability work, and then potentially learn about the process of adopting OER from them. And in addition to a marketing strategy, I felt I really needed to recognize the faculty who had already been doing textbook affordability work on their own. I was not building the idea of textbook affordability at CCC from scratch. There was a group of librarians and faculty that had come before me, and they really were the ones who built the foundation of textbook affordability at the college. And what was really special about that is that that work was above and beyond their expected duties, and so it really deserved some serious recognition. So I was left with an answer, at least in part, to my bolded marketing question. And that was, come up with a strategy that would both get the word out and recognize folks for the work that they'd already done. And what's a librarian to do when they have an idea or a question other than do some research? So I cast my net out once more and found a couple of resources that really heavily influenced my decision to start an OER Champion gratitude campaign. The first was a thank you letter template by Jonas Lamb at the University of Alaska Southeast. And this letter template included pertinent information about textbook savings and the positive impacts of OER use on student success, and was sent to faculty that were utilizing OER. An added benefit was that the creator shared it with a Creative Commons license, so I could use it as a starting point for the letter that I would eventually send to Clackamas faculty. The second resource that I found was a play from Lumen Learning's OER Champion playbook titled OER Award and Recognition. Lumen lists recognition programs as a, quote, proven high-impact play and equates them with other recognition programs in the academic sphere, such as Faculty of the Year awards. These two resources really made me feel like I was on the right track when I was thinking about recognizing faculty who were already using OER. And so I kind of continued planning and daydreaming about what could come of a successfully implemented gratitude campaign. And I came up with my list of intended outcomes. Ultimately, I hoped that this gratitude campaign would accomplish 3 goals. First, I really wanted faculty who were using OER to feel proud of the work that they've done, both for themselves and for their students. And I wanted them to be aware of the varied benefits of OER if they weren't already. And I wanted these faculty members to show that pride by hanging their OER Champion poster on their office door. Second, I really wanted students to see the OER Champion posters and learn more about how OER benefit their learning and save them money. And I also kind of secretly hoped that this would encourage some students to ask some of their instructors who were not using OER whether they'd ever considered it. And finally, I really hoped that faculty that were not using OER would see the OER Champion posters on their colleagues' doors, and it would pique their interest, perhaps enough for them to chat with those OER champions about their experiences, or even give me a call. And while I haven't really done any official analysis on whether this last outcome was truly realized, I have certainly noticed that by far the most common way that new faculty get involved with OER projects with me is through recommendations from faculty who are already using OER. And I really like to think that the posters have something to do with that. So if you are interested in running a gratitude campaign of your own, here's a quick list of things that you'll need to do. First, it's really important that you gather that list of faculty who are using OER at your institution. I was lucky enough that I had access to a list from our bookstore, so I would recommend that the bookstore be the first place you look. It's possible that your bookstore is not collecting OER usage information, and if that's the case, then I would recommend trying to contact department chairs or department admins, whoever may know which instructors are using what type of resources in their classroom. Once you have that list, you'll want to start to develop your packet. Like I mentioned before, mine included the thank you letter, the poster, a sticker, and my business card. Yours could include the same items. It could just be a thank you letter, or if you have the budget to add some more goodies, I'm sure faculty would appreciate that as well. You'll also likely want to get some help from your campus's mail services team. I know that my packets were about 50 strong in the first year, and I really didn't want to surprise our campus services folks with 50 packets out of the blue. So putting in a ticket or sending them a quick email about the best way to do that, I'm sure will be appreciated. And finally, make sure that you add your gratitude campaign to your annual to-do list, so any new OER adopters can get their packets as well. And perhaps you can build a small community of practice amongst folks who have that poster on their door. I'm going to finish up here with the list of templates for the resources that I used in my campaign. Some are in Google Docs and others are in Canva, but they all have the ability for you to make a copy, and they all have a Creative Commons license. So please feel free to make copies of these resources and use them in a gratitude campaign of your own.